Facilitating Effective Meetings, First Edition, all files and templates included. A practical guide for teams everywhere to have incredibly good and productive meetings. Maurice Velasquez. Dedication. To each bold person in every company who takes upon themselves the daunting task of trying to bring people together and keeping everyone aligned. I never accepted the premise that meetings themselves were bad. Patrick Lencioni. Preface. From frustration to focus. I've been where you are, frustrated by unproductive meetings, overwhelmed by emails, and unsure how to help teams succeed. That's why I wrote this book. Together, we'll take a step-by-step journey on how to lead meetings, create follow-through, and accomplish more. We'll begin with a story of a common challenge we all face, then dive into meeting structures, key documents, and tactics. If this book feels granular, that's intentional. This isn't another book on theory. Don't forget to download all the templates shown in this book, the PDF of this book, and to watch the videos in my online school that go along with this book. The details are in Appendix C. Let's get started and build the collaboration you've been striving for. Maurice Velasquez, December 24th, 2024. Table of Contents. Chapter 1. The Challenge We All Face. Story. Chapter 2. The Right Mindset About Meetings. Chapter 3. The 5 Basic Steps. Chapter 4. Practicing the 5 Steps. Chapter 5. The Notes and Agenda Documents. Chapter 6. Key Tactics on Notes and Agendas. Chapter 7. Becoming an Effective Facilitator. Chapter 8. Bringing It All Together. Appendix A. Organizing the Files. Appendix B. Setting up the Launchpad. Doc Appendix C. Download the files and templates. Chapter 1. The Challenge We All Face. Story. This scenario is all too common. It was the middle of the week, and the tension in the conference room was palpable. Janet, the VP of Operations, sat at the head of the table, scrolling through her phone, while other managers shuffled in. Greg, the sales director, was already seated, furiously typing away on his laptop, not even acknowledging the rest of the team. Laura from HR exchanged weary glances with Tom from marketing. It was clear no one was happy being there. "All right, let's get started," Janet said, though she didn't seem any more enthusiastic than the rest of them. "We need to figure out why last quarter's performance was down and how to fix it." Greg barely looked up. "It's pretty simple," he muttered. "The frontline team isn't closing deals fast enough." Laura sighed. "Maybe if sales communicated better with production during training, the new hires would learn the products in the first place." "Don't even start," Greg snapped, finally lifting his head. "You're the one who brought in half-baked candidates who don't know what they're doing." Tom from marketing leaned forward. "None of this matters if marketing doesn't have the data we need to generate qualified leads. I've been asking for weeks, but no one's providing us the right information." The room fell silent, tension thick in the air. Each department blamed the other, and no one took responsibility. This wasn't the first time these meetings had devolved into finger-pointing, and Janet was losing patience. Despite multiple strategy sessions, workshops, and team-building exercises, nothing had changed. Every department was working in silos, and miscommunication was the norm. "We're wasting time," Janet thought, resisting the urge to roll her eyes. "Another meeting, another hour gone, and we'll leave here with nothing resolved. Again, maybe what we need to do is re-engage our employees and ask them to tell us what they think are the issues," said Laura. She then recommended they do an anonymous employee survey and go from there. Tom snapped. "Really? Are you serious? All we're going to get is a bunch of nonsense? Pay us more money and we'll work harder? And I'm not sure we even addressed any of the issues they told us the last time we did one of those." Frustrated and desperate, Janet finally asked the leaders to come up with ideas of their own. "We need solutions," she said. "What can we do to get this team and all our teams back on track?" The ideas came flooding in. "Maybe we should stop having so many meetings," Greg suggested. "All we do is sit in meetings. Let's cut them down, let people do their work. We just simply need to get on the same page." "Yes, of course, but how?" snapped Tom. "Or we could invest in better collaboration tools," said Laura. "Something like Slack or Monday to keep everyone communicating in real time." "Okay, that's possible. How about SharePoint or OneDrive?" Tom chimed in. "We need a platform that makes it easier to share documents across departments. That's how we'll improve collaboration. If we want an easier one, let's do Google Docs." After a few months of trying all these ideas, nothing seemed to stick. The meetings they canceled left people even more confused. The new platforms were hardly used or led to more disjointed communication. And worse, everyone simply shifted their overuse of email to an overuse of these messaging platforms. Now they have to manage both emails and messages in the new collaboration system. The expensive tools felt like band-aids on a much deeper wound. Frustrated with the lack of progress, the company decided to bring in a high-profile consultant team. The firm delivered great presentations, gave them a good plan to reshape the culture, and sent managers through weeks of training. For a brief moment, things started to look up. Everyone learned new buzzwords and the meetings had more structure. There was talk of synergy, alignment, and collaboration. But behind the scenes, the same old problems crept back in. Despite all the investment, nothing stuck. The training was too general, too theory-based, and didn't address their specific challenges. Employees started reverting to old habits, and the frustration only deepened. Morale began to slide further, and Janet could feel the clock ticking. We've thrown money at this problem, brought in experts, sent people to train, and we're worse off than before, she thought. Out of desperation, they tried adding more hierarchy, hiring new managers, and implementing daily check-ins and status updates to force alignment. But the constant touch points only added stress, creating an atmosphere of micromanagement, while the real issues remained unaddressed. Finally, they swung in the opposite direction, eliminating structure entirely and adopting a flat-line approach, thinking this would open communication and foster collaboration. It didn't. With no clear roles, decision-making ground to a halt. Chaos reigned. Every effort they made only deepened the disarray. It wasn't long before the team found themselves back where they started, stuck in a cycle of miscommunication, frustration, and stagnation. We've tried everything, Janet thought. Is this just how it has to be? Despite all the money spent and hours poured into new ideas, things were only getting worse. No one had cracked the code on how to improve alignment in a way that actually worked. Does this sound like the situation you're facing? Are you and your team stuck in an endless cycle of meetings that lead nowhere? Struggling with miscommunication, and frustrated by tools and strategies that seem to only make things worse? If you're nodding your head, you're not alone. Many organizations find themselves in this exact place, doing everything they think is right, only to watch the chaos grow. The truth is, without real alignment and practical strategies to achieve it, your team will continue spinning its wheels, unable to move forward. But what if I told you there's a way out of this? A way to crack the code and finally bring your organization into a place of true collaboration and growth. In this book, you'll discover a proven, practical system that will help you make meetings effective so you can collaborate, align, and see projects to completion more consistently as a team. It's time to stop spinning your wheels and start leading your team toward real, sustainable success. Let's get started. Chapter 2. The right mindset about meetings. The role of leadership is not for you to make the decisions. The role of leadership is to create an environment where others can come together and make decisions. Simon Sinek. Effective meetings are not just a routine aspect of business. They are at the heart of what makes a great leader and manager. When handled correctly, meetings can be a powerful tool that drives progress and cohesion within a team. However, if mismanaged, they can quickly become a hindrance rather than a help. This is designed to guide you in making meetings a powerful and effective part of your leadership toolkit. In many organizations, however, meetings have gained a reputation for being time-wasting. There is a prevailing sentiment that says, we don't need meetings, and this quickly starts driving up the use of emails and messaging. And then conversations start happening more in hallway discussions, random pop-ins, and random one-off. All these emails, hallway discussions, and random conversations have their rightful place in the life of business and decision-making, but we have become too dependent on emails and random conversations. Now, our inboxes are always full, and although we regularly tell ourselves that we use emails because we don't want to waste our time in bad meetings, we actually end up wasting more time with the unending stream of emails and threads that do not help move things forward any better. So, we tell ourselves that to avoid bad meetings, we need to increase our emails. But companies are at a point where we do not know how to improve any of this. The solution is not to replace bad meetings with emails and random discussions, but instead the solution is to learn how to have great, effective meetings by lessening and eliminating bad meetings and lessening our dependence on the overabundance of emails and constant, unnecessary interruptions. A clear mark that you are having great meetings is that your emails lessen. If the volume of your emails remains high, you are not having effective meetings. The opposite is true. If you have great meetings and great collaboration happens, then your emails will go down. Why? Because when you have great, aligning meetings, your emails get focused to update each other and discuss what was decided in the meetings, instead of trying to have huge, long discussions that should be left for the meetings. Work life becomes bearable and exciting at that point. This is what you will learn in this book. Does this mean, therefore, that things will not break down when you have good meetings? Definitely not. Especially when you are beginning to learn how to do this, you will sit through a lot of messy meetings because you are practicing new tactics. And let's be realistic, even after being seasoned at this, some meetings just go bad. And there are seasons of growth where teams get disorganized, people get pulled, and you have to reset and get reorganized all over again. When that happens, not if that happens, you will be able to reset quicker and get everyone reorganized faster because you'll pull out the tools you will learn in this guide and pick back up where you left off. You'll reset your launch pads, your agendas, and your notes. You will update the most recent set of meeting notes with all the relevant tasks. In your agendas, you will prioritize your deadlines, your assigned items, your top projects. And when you get disorganized, you'll reset the agenda and keep going. You stay consistent at using the agendas and resetting the meetings until you get good at keeping your rhythm. Here are the new ways to think about meetings. Do not give up on staying organized. You do not give up on practicing consistently good meetings week in and week out. Tell yourself constantly, there is no going back to unending emails. There is no going back to random discussion. We will not go back to being run by lots of emails and verbal hallway conversations. Make the commitment that we have to move forward and be efficient, aligned, and scalable, and reset. It's not going to be easy, but it's worth it. Do not stay in bad meetings. If you find yourself in a meeting that is not going well, it is important to speak up early. Don't wait until the meeting is halfway over to address it. Don't take charge, but definitely speak up as soon as you notice that things are going off track. The earlier you address it, the better. One of the most valuable lessons I learned came from a CAO, Mark, who demonstrated the importance of this standard. In a meeting that the director of marketing, Heidi, and I had called, he noticed the meeting was not going well from the start, and within 4 minutes, he spoke up. He asked Holly and I to pause the meeting, regroup later that day, and send him the new agenda for his review. We did. We called the meeting a few days later. That second meeting was great. Yes, he was the CAO, but he then challenged us by saying, even if you are not in the C-suite, you have to do what I did. Do not facilitate bad meetings. Do not sit in bad meetings. Do not waste your time nor other people's time. Wow. That has guided me ever since. Even if you are just a participant, it is your responsibility to help make the meetings productive. If it is going off track, you have to speak up and help it get focused. Do what Mark did. Taking a proactive approach to meetings, whether you're the leader or a participant, ensures that time is not wasted and that the meeting achieves its intended goals. Always be clear about the purpose of the meeting and make sure that everyone is aligned with that. Action item. At your company, the leaders should discuss this and empower everyone to speak up when a meeting is going bad instead of just sitting through them. Stop using emails to replace meetings. One of the most common mistakes we make is trying to have a conversation via email when a meeting would be more effective, and call meetings that should be taken care of with a good email. Ask yourself these questions. Do I need to discuss the direction of what we should do? Call a meeting. Do I need to update everyone to what is going to happen or is happening? Then, send an email. Follow this basic principles to guide you. 1. Don't use email to start topics about new things or big issues, especially with lots of recipients. On the second reply of the discussion getting deep, stop the email. It's time to call a meeting. 2. Don't call a meeting to have a discussion that could have reasonably been an email. When you are setting up a meeting that you're going to simply go over what has mostly already been fleshed out in an email, then don't set up a long meeting. Be a great facilitator of meetings. A successful meeting depends heavily on the presence of the facilitator, someone who can guide the discussion, keep the group on track, ensure that the meeting's objectives are met, and help it become a productive meeting. This role is critical. It ensures the meeting is productive and that everyone is engaged and contributing. The facilitator ensures there is focus, structure, and helps everyone participate and contribute. No one is allowed to take over meetings, and no one is allowed to just stay quiet and process. Meetings are spaces where decisions are made, where discussion happens, where ideas are interacted and presented, where real debates happen, where trust is built and things move forward. A productive meeting is one where everyone leaves with clarity, direction, and alignment. This requires good, simple planning, clear guidelines, and a good facilitator who can navigate different personalities and styles. By empowering your team members to facilitate meetings in your absence, you build their effectiveness and leadership skills, which is crucial for their growth and the growth of your organization. But if you cannot delegate the facilitation of meetings, you will be perpetually tied to every aspect of your work, and you will be forever stuck in the weeds. You will not be able to develop leaders under you well. But when you teach team members to facilitate, it not only frees you to focus on higher-level tasks, but also ensures that your team can function smoothly without your constant presence. Only have meetings with notes and agendas. Transitioning from a loose structure to a more organized format is crucial for meeting effectiveness. While it's okay to start with a loose agenda, be sure to refine and structure it as the meeting progresses. A quick agenda can transform the effectiveness of a meeting, and good notes can transform discussions into results and accountability. Rather than sending a lengthy email, set a short, focused agenda that outlines the key points to be discussed. Preparation is key to any successful meeting. Ask people to put their items on the agenda by a specific time the day before. Then you review the agenda and send it out the day before, and ask everyone to come ready to discuss. Consistency in your meeting structure is essential. We will discuss in this book how to use shared documents to keep track of agendas, notes, and follow-up actions. This will help you avoid starting from scratch each time and ensure that everyone is on the same page. Notes. Chapter 3. The 5 Basic Steps To have consistently great meetings and good participation with all the attendees, here are the 5 steps and habits to repeat over and over until everyone gets good at faithful follow-through. 1. Send a one-page agenda. 2. Confirm receipt of the agenda and send an invite for the meeting, attaching the agenda. 3. In the meeting, stick to the agenda, and when you realize you are chasing rabbits, get back to the agenda. Pace yourself so you do not run out of time. 4th, capture action items and assigned items in a simple notes email or notes document. 5. Keep the notes doc in a shared document to keep consistency. Google Docs, OneDrive, etc. We will dive into each step and use simple examples so you can practice it easier. This is of me and a CEO in a recent meeting. Step 1. Sending the one-page agenda. Scott is the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. He and I meet every week to connect, plan, align, and strategize our course of action on how we're going to help strengthen his leadership team and support them better. But recently, Scott has had to travel a lot. Several major projects have put our meetings and projects on pause, and I needed to reconnect with him. So I reached out to him, I asked him if we could meet at the same meeting slot the following Monday, and I texted him the things we needed to rekindle. I simply texted him this, screenshot 1, texting quick agenda. Here is the text I sent him. Hey Scott, how's this Monday for us to meet? Here is the projects and topics we need to revisit. 1. The corporate video. 2. Sales training and gather feedback. 3. Rollout of corporate training. 4. Filling the sales director position. 5. HR concerns. 6. Our regular meeting schedule. There, that's it. Quick and to the point. I set a brief agenda. I set the expectations. Now to take step 2. Step 2. Phone call and email to confirm meeting and agenda. After I texted him, I waited about 10 minutes to call him, and I got him on the phone. Had I not gotten him on the phone, I would have sent him a calendar invite with the agenda in it, and then chased him via phone calls to nudge him to accept the invite and confirm the agenda. But in this case, I didn't have to. I called him, and he answered. He said, "Yes, let's meet," and then told me a couple of things to add. I captured what he said, we verbally agreed on the items, and we agreed for me to send him the invite with the whole list. About 5 minutes later, I sent him the invite with an email that read like this. Screenshot 2. Emailing confirming agenda. Hey Scott, this is what we discussed. Here's the updated agenda. I'll bring hard copies. 1. The corporate video. 2. Sales training and gather feedback. 3. Rollout of corporate training. 5. Filling sales director position with CRO. 6. HR concerns. 7. Our meeting schedule. 8. Revisiting the sales catalog. We both digitally the agenda and time of the meeting. We were ready to meet. Step 3. Meet, follow the agenda, and take notes of assigned items. Approximately 90% of the meetings I facilitate, I have the agenda on the screen, and I take notes on it while we talk so that we can see what is being decided and what is being assigned. That is a key tactic to create alignment faster during the meeting, and everyone knows and has seen on the screen the assigned items. This increases accountability and better clarity of delegation, but in this case, as it sometimes can happen, we did not have a screen we could both easily look at while we met. So, we stuck to using paper. I took notes while we talked, and before going to each next item on the agenda, we discussed the steps for each topic and who was responsible for each step. As is the case of any good meetings, sometimes we ended up chasing rabbits. We'd dive further into the details than we should have and chase other issues that were sparked. But it didn't matter. I'd capture the steps and assignments of those new topics, and I'd bring us back to the agenda. At the end of the meeting, I read all the items again and who was responsible for each next step. I told him within 10 minutes. I'd send him an email reflecting on what we discussed. Step 4. Capture action items and assign tasks in the notes doc. I know that I had given Scott a written copy of the notes. We didn't have a screen in that room, but that was too informal, too casual. I know that if I want everyone to do a better job of following through, they have to receive digital copies of the notes or the links to the doc within 1 hour after the meeting. So I sent him an email with a quick list of all we agreed to do. Here is what that email looked like. Screenshot 3. Emailing, sending assigned tasks. Hey Scott, great meeting. Here are the things we agreed to on each of these topics and projects. Each person is responsible to listen on the right side of each task. 1. Corporate video send, Scott transcript, Maurice 2. Sales training, meet sales managers, Scott 3. Sales director, discuss next week, Scott 4. HR, hold, discuss in 2 weeks, 5. Our cadence, set up with assistant, Maurice 6. Sales catalog, bring updated copy, Maurice. Now I'm confident we are both on the same page. It is digital and it reflects what we discussed. We are both accountable for moving our assigned items. So, step 4 is complete. The next step is to keep consistency and accountability. Step 5, set up the shared document. Notice that in my email to Scott, I wrote this. Here is the link to the agenda notes document where I captured this and which we'll use going forward to all our meetings. The new business section is where we will add items every week. That's the link where I put that notes document which he and I will use going forward. We will not send each other new agendas. We will not have to recommit to the topics we are going to discuss. We are simply going to bookmark that link, and that's the link that he and I will use going forward. He adds things to the new business section. I also added things to the new business section, and we both agreed that I would be the scribe to keep this updated, relevant, and updated. And we also agreed that if and when it becomes outdated or we have to take a pause, we simply resend each other the same link to the same document again, remind ourselves of where we left off last time, and quickly update it with the right topics and the right steps of each topic and project. Using shared documents is the best and most reliable way to stay aligned, focused, accountable, and consistent. Chasing attachments in emails or looking for the most recent version in network drives are unacceptable. It's a waste of time. The guideline is this. 1. Put meetings on a routine, a rhythm. 2. Put the agenda document and the notes document for each meeting on a shard document. 3. Send the links to everyone and ask them to bookmark their browsers. 4th, update the agenda and notes before and after each meeting. 5. Open the documents during the meeting and guide the meeting with them. It's amazing how well this works. It's difficult at first because we are not used to this consistency, but it is not long before people will start following through better on their tasks because you regularly use the assigned items in the notes document for updates and completion. Whether you use Google Docs or OneDrive or SharePoint, it doesn't matter as long as everyone agrees to use those links to guide the meeting's discussions. Let's recap. 1. Start meetings with the agreed agendas. 2. Chase rabbits but go back to the agenda. 3. Clearly assign people the tasks for each topic and decision. 4th, review and agree on all tasks on the screen as you decide things and then review them at the end of the meeting. 5. Send the links to the notes and agendas. 6. Everyone opens the notes to do their tasks. Everyone puts items on the next agenda. Now it's time to practice this. Chapter 4. Practicing the 5 steps. What we will do in this chapter is give you an assignment so you can start practicing. Do this with any meeting that you have coming up, whether it is with one of your employees, a peer in another department that you have to soon meet with, or with your supervisor or manager above you. Here is the exercise. Setting up the meeting 1. Identify a real meeting you need to have, preferably with an individual so it can just be you and that person. 2. Write down the key points you want to discuss like I showed you earlier. 3. Then send an email to that person and let them know you've been preparing to meet with them and you wanted to show them the topics you'd like to discuss. See the sample email on the following page as a guide. In your email include these. 1. Invite them to send you any edits and to add more items to the list of topics. 2. Send them a few slots on your calendar that you have available to meet with them. 3. Give the person a few hours to get back with you, and if you don't hear back from them, reach out to them with a phone call or a text. See the sample text in the following pages. 4. When the person responds and now you have an updated list of topics and they have told you which slots are good for them, go ahead and send them the invite with the full list of topics in the body of the invite. Follow the guidelines for each of these steps. During the meeting 1. During the meeting, take notes, preferably on a document you can see on either a TV or monitor in that office. 2. If not, go off paper and stick to the agenda, allowing for rabbit topics to chase as necessary. After the meeting 1. Send a follow-up email with the notes and action items. 2. This reinforces what was discussed and ensures that everyone is clear on the next steps. Creating consistency. 1. Set up a shared doc in Google Drive or MS OneDrive and send out the link to the document. Use that document for those future meetings. 2. Do this at least once per week and expand it to more meetings so all your meetings are on a rhythm and have their own shared document. The sample email and sample text. Here's a simple draft wording to send your first email to start a good meeting approach with someone. Subject: meet next week. Creating adherence between departments. Dear Sammy, hi. I'm emailing to set up the meeting we discussed to talk about these topics and some slots to meet next week. First, second, third. How to establish consistency between both our departments when it comes to procedures that are client-facing. How to ensure SOPs are communicated well to field offices. The initial areas for improvement. A. Which procedures are causing the most number of service calls? B. Generating an ongoing report to track and monitor progress. C. How is underwriting and claims posting new SOPs and decisions? D. Setting a rhythm cadence between team leaders across the department to keep consistency. Are you available to meet on any of these? WED, October 3rd, 4 to 5 p.m. Tues, October 9th, either 11:30 to 1 p.m. or 2 to 4 p.m., 4 to 5. Wednesday, October 10th, anything after 3 p.m. Give me your thoughts. Thank you. Morris, the follow-up text. The following is a common text I send as a follow-up to people after I've sent the email above. Remember, especially with text, it's all about tone and the personality of the person you're reaching out to. So I wrote the same text, but in 4 different styles based on their personality. Dominant on driving personality. Sammy, hi, did you get my email about the meeting? If not, I can resend it, or we can text to move faster. Let me know. Influential, energetic personality. Hey Sammy, how are you? Hope you had a great weekend. Hey, I wanted to see if you got my email about meeting and talking about our departments working better together. I'd love your thoughts. Let me know if you're good to meet next week. Steady, calm personality. Hey Sammy, sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to see if you had received my email about getting together. It doesn't have to be next week. I'm thinking in 2 weeks, but if you feel we can't wait until the end of the month, I'm good with that. Thanks, Sammy. Conscientious/detailed personality. Sam, good afternoon. I sent you an email Tuesday morning and wanted to see if we could meet next week. It's about the amount of time your team spends answering calls from my team even after your team publishes policies on the intranet. I sent you dates and times I can meet. Are any of those good for you? Chapter 5. The Notes and Agenda Documents. Now let's dive into how to use and master the agenda and notes documents. Here are the sections in those documents that make up the structure and flow of good meetings. 1. Announcements. 2. Items assigned. 3. Top projects. 4. New business. 5. Upcoming agendas. 6. Parking lot items for later. The order is important. These templates have been very effective for the hundreds of companies and teams we've used this with, primarily because of the order of the sections and the flow of conversations. By teaching all attendees what each section is for, it makes it easier for everyone to know where to plug in their items and discuss things. People usually come to meetings to announce things, to discuss the status of tasks, to discuss the top things they are working on, to present new issues, and to plan things for later. But when the meetings start, everyone tries to bring their items up as best they can, but they tend to step all over each other because the meeting has not structure, no flow, and no order. Having these sections makes it easier to discuss topics and not step over each other. Here are the guidelines rules to use the sections in this order. 1. Don't easily skip around. Stick to the order going from the top of the agenda to the bottom. 2. Everyone puts their items in the correct section prior to the meeting. The facilitator reviews the agenda and makes final edits. 3. Everyone participates in each section and stays engaged. Everyone gets off technology, except the note taker. Here are the 6 sections in the agenda document. Template 1. Agenda Now. Let's dive into each section and the practical guidelines that govern how to use each section. First, announcements. A. This is for a quick 30 to 45 second announcement of things that do not require much discussion. B. If an announcement topic does start a lengthier discussion that lasts more than 1 minute, then the facilitator should pause the conversation and asks for that topic to be moved to the new business section of the agenda. C. Be strict about this because people often like to slip things into the announcement section with the pretext that what I have to announce is really not that long, but it soon becomes obvious that it is a bigger issue that should warrant a lengthier conversation. Don't allow that. Put it in new business. D. In a 1-hour meeting, this section should be 5 to 7 minutes long. Second, items assigned. A. This section is to create high accountability and pressure on everyone with tasks. Be nice but firm. Everyone is expected to focus on tasks for this meeting. B. This is the items tasks that were decided and assigned at the last meeting and that need to be asked about at this meeting. C. The purpose is to check on the status of each item and make sure the task was done as stated. D. If that task was done, delete it and replace it with the next steps to move things forward. E. If an item is not completed, discuss why and leave it on the agenda with a more urgent deadline. F. If anyone is repeatedly not completing tasks, the facilitator has to talk with that person and their supervisor. No exceptions. G. If items need to be tabled for 2 to 4 weeks, place it in upcoming agendas. And if an item is to be tabled longer than 4 weeks, put it in the parking lot section. H. In a 1-hour meeting, this section should be completed within 20 to 25 minutes. Third, top projects. This section is dedicated for a brief update on the top projects that this group is tracking or that anyone needs to make the team aware they are working on. B. If the discussion brings up any new tasks, add them to the items assigned section above. C. In a 1-hour meeting, this top project section should take 10 to 15 minutes. 4. New business. A. This is a very important section. It is the one where everyone is to bring up any new ideas, issues, problems, complaints about anything they feel is important. B. This section should be jam-packed with topics. C. It is important because it is where people are to bring up difficult and controversial issues instead of later complaining that no one listens to things around here. E. If someone has a document to present, they are to add the link and present it when you get to this section. F. Everyone should bring at least one item every week from all the issues they are currently emailing about and having in random hallway conversations. G. Encourage everyone to bring a lot of issues and put them in this section. H. If people are not filling up this section, they are likely 1. Not comfortable opening up in the meeting. 2. The meeting is not yet safe to bring up sensitive issues, or 3. They are simply not used to using a section like this to bring up issues. Either way, ask people to fill up this section with items. Die. In a 1-hour meeting, this section should last 15 to 20 minutes. In Chapter 6, we'll discuss how to help people fill up this new items section. 5. Upcoming agendas. A. This section is to capture the items that need to be discussed or followed up in future meetings in the next 2 to 4 weeks. B. This is designed to plan ahead and pace things so that not everything is due now. 6th, parking lot. A. This section is similar to the upcoming agendas section, but it is meant for items that need to be brought up much later than 4 weeks, likely at an undefined time frame. B. This section is as a reminder on these topics, so they are not easily forgotten. Every meeting, the team should look at those items and move them up into new items or top projects based on their priority. Otherwise, they are to just sit there without discussion until they are moved up. Now that we have defined each section, let's dive into more specific tactics in Chapter 6, and then tactics on how to be better, a facilitator, in Chapter 7. Notes. Chapter 6. Key tactics on notes and agendas. The notes and agenda documents have the same sections, but the difference between them is that the items in each section reflect the topics and tasks as they exist before the meeting starts, the agenda, and the topics and tasks that as they end up after the meeting, the notes. Here are key tactics to be more effective with notes and agendas. First, confirm the agenda. Save it as the notes. Doc, and then start the meeting with that notes. Document open. You want to have 2 documents for each meeting, the agenda and the notes. The agenda shows what was agreed to be discussed, and the notes shows what was actually discussed. And if ever you need to show documentation, you'll want to have both docs. Here is how to do this at the offset of each meeting. 1. The note taker opens the agenda and asks everyone to review it and make last-minute changes. 2. Everyone reviews it for 2 minutes, requests edits, and votes to accept the agendas as edited. 3. The note taker saves the agenda by clicking Save, or if on a shared document, no need to click Save as the doc automatically updates itself. 4. The note taker then clicks Save As in Microsoft-based systems, or on Make a Copy in Google Docs and gives the document the date of the meeting plus the word Notes. 5. That open notes document, the one that the note taker updates throughout the meeting. Go see Appendix A to read about the naming convention we recommend for agenda documents and notes document. When the meeting ends, use the notes to create the next agenda. When you finish a meeting and you have created a notes document, the note taker creates the next meeting agenda. Here is how to do it in OneDrive and Google Docs. 1. Click File, Save As, OneDrive. 2. Or click Make a Copy, Google. 3. Give the file name the new name. See Appendix A for how to. 4. Then click on Save in OneDrive or the Make a Copy button in Google. Then the note taker sends out the link to Notes doc of the meeting that just took place, along with the link to the agenda doc for the following meeting. This creates better accountability and more reliable task management. See Appendix B on how to use the Launchpad document so the note taker can get the docs out more effectively without having to send emails out to everyone after meetings. Make assigned items easy to see and who they were assigned to. If people open the notes document and they can easily find the items assigned to them, they will be more prone to do them. This tactic is intended to help everyone find their assigned tasks faster. 1. Make all items assigned one-liners. Follow this example. A. Report. Send to HR. Mark B. Audit. Set up meeting. Lori 2. In the example above, A. Report is the topic B. Then it is followed by the action item Send to HR C. Then it is followed by dots. ... This signifies an assigned I.D, and then on the right side of the item is the person who is assigned. 3. If you need more info or each tasks, create bullets under each task. Do as many bullets as needed. Assign individual bullets to people as well as needed. 4. Keep your notes document to 1 page, maximum 2 pages. Ask everyone to put their name in parentheses when they put items on the agenda. Ask people when they enter an item on announcements or new business on the agenda to put their name in parentheses so everyone can see who entered the item. This prevents from pausing in the middle of the meeting to try to figure out who added this. For example, New Business 1. Bi-weekly report to HR, Maurice. 2. Budget 2025 audits, Elizabeth. 3. All teams meeting, Jamie. Create a Launchpad document to not have hunt and search for notes and agenda documents. A Launchpad is a document where you place the links to all the agenda and notes documents, so everyone has a central place to find those documents. See Appendix B. Notes. Chapter 7. Becoming an effective facilitator. Here we explore key tactics of facilitation to help lead to more successful meetings, creating trust and accountability. The most important thing in every meeting is that the tasks were completed as assigned. If tasks are not completed, the meeting starts to fall apart and become a waste of time. The facilitator has to create a spirit of results and expectations and nurture consistent follow-through on tasks. This is why the items assigned section is at the beginning of the agenda, and it should not be skipped or pushed for later in the meeting. When people start realizing the facilitator will not ask for updates and completion, people will slack. If items assigned continually slip by particular individuals, the facilitator needs to talk with those team members outside the meeting. If those team members answer to a supervisor not at the meeting, the facilitator needs to update that supervisor and ask them to help ensure their team member follows through on assigned tasks better. The facilitator needs to be known as a stickler for adherence, someone who runs a tight ship in their meetings. To help foster this sense of accountability and follow-through, we encourage facilitators to watch this short 3-minute video with their teams, where Steve Jobs discusses the rules and guidelines of great meetings. Watch it here, www.morristraining.com/SteveJobs. In the video, Steve emphasizes that the true mark of teamwork is to trust one another to do their tasks without being watched all the time, but instead to go into meetings and get on the same page and stay aligned continually. It's at the meetings where we hold each other accountable. The tough conversations happen at the meetings. Preparation and follow-up. Preparation before the meetings is crucial. The facilitator and note-taker should review the agenda for the meeting, see who has put items in which sections, and organize the agenda to make better sense and good flow for the upcoming meeting. I recommend notifying all the team members of when this review and prep is going to take place before the meeting so that they know by what time they should have their items updated into the agenda. However, if not everyone enters their items by the time this prep.review happens, the facilitator and note-taker should give the first 2 to 3 minutes of the meeting for late entries and new items. The more the meetings take place, the more team members should be putting items on the agenda the day before instead of when the meeting starts, but allow them to do so if that happens. Once the facilitator and note-taker end reviewing and preparing the agenda, they would email the attendees that the agenda is ready for them to take a last look before the meeting starts. I recommend doing this prep by the end of the previous day instead of doing it the same day of the meeting. Creating a non-judgmental space. It is a very real thing that everyone, to some degree or other, is hesitant to speak up in meetings. It's important for the facilitator to always keep in mind that people, by and large, hesitate to speak up out of fear of saying the wrong thing, being judged by others, of not causing conflict, or not pointing others out. Communicate these things to participants. The facilitator should communicate to the team members that you desire to do these things. 1. Create a safe space for open discussion and that everyone is expected to participate. 2. No one will take over the conversation. 3. Moments of silence are okay, and that no one should pressure others to speak up nor judge each other for creating silence. 4. That silence in decision-making is not going to be interpreted as yes nor approval, but that instead, you as the facilitator will ask that everyone articulate out loud approval, disagreement, or dissent by speaking up when it's time to vote for a decision. Communicate that the often used adage of, "I hear silence that must mean everyone is in agreement," will not be used. Expectations for everyone to participate. The facilitator is to communicate the expectations for the meeting. 1. No one is to dominate the conversations. This is primarily so extroverts do not take over, and the meeting becomes a conversation between a few while the others listen. When asking questions, extroverts should give 5 to 10 seconds of silence for more introverted members to jump in. 2. No one is to sit in silence processing. This is primarily so that introverts don't just sit quietly knowing that it is expected for them to outwardly participate, express opinions, and give outward input, disagreements, suggestions, or perspectives within the meeting, not afterwards. 3. Introverts should jump into the 5 to 10 seconds of silence so they can be heard. Staying quiet is not an option. Start and end meetings with chit-chat. It's perfectly okay and healthy to allow a few 2 to 3 minutes at the beginning of the meeting for informal chit-chat, friendly discussions, bantering about non-essential things, and social talk. But this should not be allowed for long. The rule of thumb should be this. In a 1-hour meeting, 1. Allow 2 to 3 minutes for social and chit-chat. 2. The facilitator ends it and asks the note-taker to open the agenda. 3. Spend 2 to 3 minutes making final additions and edits to the agenda and ask for a vote to approve it. 5. Spend 50 minutes on the business of the agenda. 5. Spend the last 5 minutes of the meeting on chit-chat, friendly discussion, and unofficial discussion. Strict adherence to the agenda. For a 1-hour meeting, for example, you have 50 minutes to get through all the items. You have to be focused and keep everyone on point. You should allow some rabbit chasing, but as soon as you realize too much time has been spent on that item, you have to bring everyone back. The facilitator and note-taker should both help each other manage this. We recommend you pace the meeting with these time slots. 1/3 of the meeting time should be to cover announcements and items assigned. 1/3 of the meeting time should be focused on top projects. 1/3 of the meeting time should be focused on new business. Never skip nor shortcut the new business section. It is very easy for team members to not put items on new business for many reasons, and then put pressure on the facilitator to end the meeting early since there are no items on new business to discuss. The pressure will come in many ways, especially when people say we shouldn't be meeting just to meet, to imply that if the facilitator requires people to bring up items for new business, it is equivalent to just meeting to meet. When there are a few or no items to discuss in new business, and you still have time in the allotted meeting, don't just end the meeting. Use this exercise to generate issues for the new items section. 1. When you get to this section and it has no items in it, or a few items, ask everyone to grab pencil and paper and in 2 minutes write down 3 to 5 top sensitive important topics that need to be discussed or considered. 2. Those issues should be big items that are driving inefficiencies, delays, controversial items, and cross-department quagmire. 3. Everyone turns those issues to the note-taker. 4. The note-taker quickly enters them into the new business. 5. The facilitator asks everyone to only vote on 2 issues that were brought up by other people. 6. Use that vote to prioritize that list and begin talking about them. 7. Repeat this exercise as many times as needed to help generate worthwhile and important items for this section. If the facilitator repeatedly uses this exercise, the meetings will become more valuable. So keep in mind, we are not to rush out of the meetings when you get to new items, but instead populate this section so important items are identified, prioritized, and discussed. Chapter 8. Bringing it all together. As we reach the conclusion of this guide, it's time to reflect on the journey we've undertaken together. Throughout these modules, you've explored the essentials of effective meetings, the power of well-structured communication, and the critical role of leadership in facilitating high-performance teams. From setting the right mindset and practical approaches to mastering agendas and notes, each chapter has provided you with the tools and insights needed to transform how you lead your team and manage your time. You've learned how to set agendas that drive action, how to facilitate discussions that lead to meaningful outcomes, and how to use notes to keep your projects on track. Most importantly, you've seen how these elements work together to create a culture of accountability, trust, and continuous improvement within your team. As you move forward, remember that the principles you've learned here are not just techniques, they are the foundations of leadership. Hopefully, this has helped you understand that the key to successful leadership lies not just in your ability to make decisions, but mostly in your capacity to bring others together so they can make the decisions. Remember what Simon Sinek once said, "The role of leadership is not to come up with all the ideas. The role of leadership is to create an environment where people can come together to make decisions." That environment is your meetings. That's the central place where groups of leaders are built and where new leaders are developed and grown. Every meeting is an opportunity to inspire, to teach, and to lead by example. Embrace these moments and use them to cultivate the next generation of leaders within your organization. Lead with clarity, communicate with purpose, and always strive to bring out the best in those around you. As you implement these strategies, know that your efforts are setting the stage for sustained success, not just for you, but for your entire team. Finally, always carry with you a daily reminder that true measure of leadership is not in the tasks you accomplish, but in the leaders you develop of the tasks that they accomplish and the projects that they complete. Keep moving forward with confidence and conviction, knowing that the journey of leadership is one of continuous growth and learning. Be a great facilitator. It's the unsung hero moment where great teams are built, and have a good note taker to help you. Together, you can do this. And if you need any assistance, let me and my coaches help. Listen to our podcasts, jump into our online school, and visit us there at our weekly office hours. You can do this. Notes. Appendix A, organizing the files. This Appendix A is to help you organize the notes and agenda documents so you and others can find the files easier and increase efficiency and accountability. Start with a blank agenda document. When you first begin using this agenda notes program, you are going to start with a blank agenda document as the one on page 49. You give that file a name like this: Marketing Team MTG-2024-1-10-agenda. You can change Marketing Team MTG to anything else that reflects that meeting, but keep it short. Use this date format so that the files are saved in chronological order in that folder. Always finish the file name with a dash agenda a few minutes before the meeting starts. On the blank agenda document, the note taker clicks on Save As and gives this file a new name like this below: Marketing Team MTG-2024-10-Notes. Notice that you keep the same name, the same date, but you change the end of the name to dash notes. This new file now becomes the notes document for this meeting, and this is where the note taker takes notes for this meeting. During the meeting, the note taker keeps saving the file repeatedly to make sure the file is saved throughout the meeting. After the meeting, the note taker clicks on Save As and gives that new file a name like this: Marketing Team Meeting, 2024, January 17th, Agenda. That is now the new document for next week's agenda. Appendix B, Setting up the Launchpad doc. This is what this document looks like. Each link is for the agenda and notes for each of those meetings. This is easy to find files. Everyone needs to bookmark this on their browser. Template 2, Launchpad. The note taker is the one responsible for adding the links of each note and agenda document to this Launchpad document. Instead of emailing the individual links to people for each note and agenda document, you email them the link to this Launchpad document and ask everyone to bookmark this link on their browser. That way everyone only has to keep up with that bookmark link, and they will always have access to all the notes and agendas for this meeting. Notes. Appendix C, Downloading Files. Download this book 1. Go to www.morristraining.com, Books 2. Scroll down to find this book title. 3. Enter your email address and we will email you a link. 4. Open your email and click on the link. It will prompt you to save the file. 5. Save the PDF to your device. 6. Open the PDF file. Download the templates and files 1. Go to www.morristraining.com. Download files 2. Scroll down to find this book title. 3. Enter your email address and we will email you a link to download the files and save them to your device. If you have any questions or problems, here is our contact information. Support@teamrealworld.com. Maurice at teamrealworld.com. www.mauricetraining.com. Maurice-22550528823. Notes. Join our online school. Here is how to jump into our school and watch the video course associated with this book. 1. Go to www.mauriceonlineschool.com. 2. Click on Join Group. 3. Send an email to maurice@teamrealworld.com with the subject line School Access Request, code Greenbook. 4. Once you are in the school, watch the course here. Notes. About the author. Maurice Velasquez is a leadership consultant, trainer, and the founder of Maurice Velasquez Leadership and Management, where he has dedicated over 2 decades to helping organizations unlock their potential through alignment, collaboration, and growth. Working with clients nationwide, Maurice has made it his mission to equip leaders with the tools and strategies needed to overcome miscommunication, build cohesion, and lead their teams to sustainable success. Maurice is the host of the Winning in the Workplace podcast and is a sought-out speaker for conferences and seminars. He is the author of 2 books, Journeying Beyond the Storm and Building High-Performance Teams, and is the senior coach at the Leadership and Growth Online Institute. Known for his practical, no-nonsense approach, Maurice combines hands-on training with insights into the deeper challenges organizations face. Through workshops, online courses, and tailored consulting, he empowers leaders at all levels to foster an environment of open communication, accountability, and team alignment. Maurice and his wife, Leah, have been married for 30 years. They have 3 children, 1 grandson, and a dog named Reuben. For more on Maurice, go to www.mauricetraining.com. Meetings are meant to be powerful tools for progress and alignment, but too often they feel like unproductive time drains. This power guide offers a practical approach to transforming meetings into focused, action-oriented sessions that bring real value to your organization. You will discover proven facilitation strategies for planning, leading, and following up on meetings that drive results, from how to set clear agendas to fostering meaningful participation and ensuring accountability. This guide breaks down the essentials of meeting mastery for leaders at all levels. Say goodbye to endless discussions that go nowhere and hello to effective meetings that get things done. Ready to make your meetings a true catalyst for success? This book will show you how